start sharing few excerpts to begin with. At the center of the human heart is a void that nothing can fill. Simone is saying this. She's saying that at the center of the human heart, and each of us will have some longing. Each of us will have some, maybe it's a phobia, maybe it's a fear, maybe it's a lack, maybe it is something. Each of us will have some longing, which, because it is the place of absence. Something is missing, and something is missing perpetually. Something has been missing for a long time. For somebody it may be love, for somebody it may be ambition, for somebody it may be a relation, for somebody it may be, all of us at all point in time will have something which is missing. Now, from the Buddhist point of view, that can be the dukkha, that can be the axle of the wheel that is broken, and you can bring contentment to it. Okay, affliction is an uprooting so violent that the soul can no longer inhibit itself. It becomes a silence that absorbs everything poured into it. That means everything that you bring in order to satisfy that need, in order to address that void, is absorbed, but the void still remains. What we do in between the raindrops is understanding psychoneurosis. Psychoneurosis is when everything has failed. When ambition has failed, when influence has failed, when affluence has failed, when possessions have failed, when everything has failed, what you have is an immense restlessness. It's not silence, it is void. There's a difference between silence and void. So there is a void at the core of our existence, and this can be from some place, and we are going to learn that, and we're going to talk at that. There are times when the soul is a barren desert, when every voice falls into it and dies. Nietzsche is also talking about the same thing, that how everything that we do is just getting absorbed, but the psychoneurosis stays. Even our own longing cannot take root. Okay, so what is this? Is it phobia? What is man searching? Rajneesh asks this question, right? What is man searching? What are we searching? What are we doing getting up in the morning, going to work? What are we searching? When is this going to get over? Whether it is ambition, whether it is, when is this going to happen? The child confronts a mother whose inner world has withdrawn from her psychic life. Her gestures continue, yet they carry no investment, no echo of desire. Faced with this unresponsive object, the child turns its own effect inwards, constructing a defensive organization built around blankness. This is the frozen core. And this frozen core, this is the void. The frozen core, which Andre calls, is nothing but the void. This void becomes the template for future relationship, where individuals approaches love with caution, expecting that any expression of longing will fall into the same void that was once absorbed by the mother's emotional collapse. Even though the title is The Death Mother, we are talking about the parent, the caregiver, the together. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's the three excerpt that I want to start with, and let's continue over here. From your early childhood, what do you remember what love was? From your early childhood, how do you remember that your parents loved you? From your early childhood, if you have to remember, do you remember parenting as a mother or is parenting a father? From your early childhood, do you see one of them absent, one of them present? Do you see being controlled too much? Or do you feel too much space? Emotionally, physically, and functionally, do you feel this was appropriate? Was it too loose, or was it too tight and too structured? Last question, how would have you liked your parents to love you when you were growing up? How would have you liked them to tell you that you matter in their life? How would have you liked them to regulate their life around it? Now, do you recollect abuse in any form, physical or emotional? Did you feel you were responsible for their well-being at an early age? Did you believe that you had to be regulated all the time, controlled all the time? Do you believe that you had to stay small because otherwise they would be dysregulated? Did you feel that your actions would piss them off and you had to do something to constantly keep them regulated? Then what are those aspects? And what are those learnings that you have? So when a client comes in, I want to ask them these two questions. And these are two questions that Father Dawson had asked in couple counseling, because most of those cases that came there were annulment cases. And Father Dawson says, what threatens survival in a relationship? And the second, he says, what regulates closeness without collapse? There are three things to look in these two questions. The first question is, what threatens the survival in a relationship? The second question is, what will regulate closeness without collapse? So for you to know, hey, I want time, but I don't want this much time. Or I want distance, but I don't want this much distance. See, that is very important to know what will regulate without collapse. So how do you know this? Now the conflict is when two partners' needs are polar opposite. You have to now understand, iska threatening is over expectation or iska threat is lack of expression. So you got to work with them separately. So in couple counseling, you work together and then all the sessions are separately and then you come together and you work again.